The Boeing 757 is the newest aircraft in TWA's fleet. It actually came into service in 1982 during a period when both the country and the airline industry were experiencing radical social and environmental changes. The price of fuel had increased tenfold, and around once isolated airports arose large populations sensitive to the noise created by the roar of jet engines. The 757 addresses both of these issues. It is 25 to 40% more fuel efficient than the aircraft it will replace, and it is quiet. Interestingly, Santa Ana is the first choice of routing for our new aircraft. Santa Ana has some of the strictest noise abatement restrictions in the nation. In addition to being efficient, the 757 has the longest range capability of any aircraft in its class. It is able to carry a full passenger load 3,000 nautical miles, introducing the feasibility of transatlantic travel. The 757 and 767 are aerodynamically similar, and FAR performance requirements are nearly identical. The cockpit crews are interchangeable, thus routes may be serviced by either aircraft as needed using the same crews. The 757 and the 767 also share many of the same systems, including the glass cockpit avionics, air conditioning, and the auxiliary power unit. Roughly 25% of the airframe spare parts are directly interchangeable or similar, and more than 50% of the avionic boxes identical. Maintenance costs are thus reduced and a smaller inventory of spare parts are required. The 757 is able to climb faster and fly higher than any other single-aisle twin-engine aircraft. Typically cruising at 39,000 feet, it is able to bypass adverse weather conditions and avoid air traffic congestion. The performance capabilities of the 757 allow it to take off and land within a relatively short amount of space. It is able to transport as many as 200 passengers to and from airports, once restricted to much smaller aircraft. It is interesting to note that the 757 is only 2 feet longer than the 727, but holds 34 more passengers. Its wingspan, however, is 16 feet wider. The objective of this video is to introduce you to the exterior features and interior layout of the 757. We will also preview the cabin and galley equipment and discuss the equipment operation. We will begin by viewing the exterior of the 757. The 757 has two Pratt & Whitney engines capable of 37,000 pounds of thrust. Even with the loss of one engine, a safe takeoff would still be possible. We see also there are 4 doors on the left side of the aircraft and 4 doors on the right. Ground personnel are responsible for opening and closing the doors. Typically, the doors are designated L1 through L4 on the left and R1 through R4 on the right. The number 1 and number 4 doors, both left and right sides, are entry service doors equipped with single-lane evacuation slide rafts. The number 2 doors are entry service doors equipped with dual-lane evacuation slide rafts. Whenever possible, the L2 door will be the primary door for boarding and deplaning. This will eliminate some of the chaos in first class during boarding by lessening aisle traffic. The number 3 doors are emergency exits only and are equipped with single-lane slides. The R1 and R4 doors are used for galley service. As we move from the exterior of the aircraft to the interior, you will notice the cabin is divided into 3 zones. A zone offers seating for 22 first-class passengers. With B zone, we enter comfort class, seating 104 passengers. And finally, C zone accommodates 54 comfort class passengers. There are a total of 158 comfort class seats. Demo equipment may be found on the left in overhead bins at the front of each zone. There are a total of 4 lavatories located forward of the L1 door, forward of the L2 door, and 1 forward of each of the number 3 emergency exits. The first-class passenger coat compartment is located on the right side, forward of seats 2D and F. 2 crew kits are stowed in the first-class coat closet. 1 crew kit may also be placed behind the last row of A zone, left side. Finally, 2 crew kits are to be stowed behind the last rows of both B and C zones on either side. Restraining straps are located in each of these areas. It is important to note the 757 seats are not breakaway. Forcing any seat forward will shear a pin that is in place when the seat is locked in position. Use care when stowing crew kits. Crew kits must slide in from the aisle laying on their side to fit correctly. There are 3 main galleys on the 757. Galleys A and B comprise the first-class galley complex. They are located forward and aft of the R1 door, respectively. Just aft of first class is an aisle-facing galley, designated Galley C. This area is used primarily for first class. It also services comfort class. Meals are not prepared in Galley C. Aft of C zone is the 3rd galley complex, Galley D. It is the designated galley for comfort class meal preparation.
Now that you're familiar with the interior aircraft layout, let's take a detailed walkthrough. As we enter the aircraft through the L1 door, the L1R1 jump seat is immediately aft of the L1 door. This is a forward-facing jump seat. The 757 has a total of 7 jump seats. With staffing of Flight Service Manager plus 4 or 5, the R1 jump seat position will be available as a second XCAP position. At the L2 door, there is a dual jump seat for the L2 and R2 flight attendants. There is a single jump seat at the R3 door. The L3 door area has been stressed to accommodate an additional jump seat, and one will be installed sometime in the future. Finally, at the L4 door, a dual jump seat provides seating for L4 and R4 flight attendants. With Flight Service Manager plus 4, the R4 jump seat will be available as the first XCAP position. Flight attendant jump seats pull down. They automatically stow when unoccupied. Communication handsets are installed at each flight attendant station. Each area has work lights, flight attendant oxygen masks, and evacuation alarms. Emergency equipment items are also near each jump seat. The aircraft lighting and entertainment control panel is mounted on the bulkhead above the L1R1 jump seat. The first switch to the right of the evacuation alarm is the ceiling forward light switch, which has 4 positions: off, night, dim, and high, in increasing levels of intensity. A rotary knob controls ceiling lighting in the first-class cabin. Moving from left to right, the next control is the window forward light switch, which monitors the first-class sidewall lighting. Also operated with a rotary knob, it, however, has only 3 positions: off, dim, and high. The ceiling aft light switch and window aft light switch are identical to the first-class controls, but control lighting in comfort class. The entry light switch has 3 positions: off, dim, and high, and is also controlled with a rotary knob. Below left to right, the first control is the PES or Passenger Entertainment System knob. A rotary knob moves the dial between the 3 settings: off, on, and test. The control is to be placed in the on position. This connects the entertainment system to individual controls located at each passenger's seat. The test switch is only utilized by maintenance. The next 3 buttons illuminate when in use. First in line is the ground service bus switch, which illuminates amber. The work light switch controls spotlights above the left forward flight attendant station. The threshold light switch controls the spotlight mounted in the ceiling above the left forward entry door. Both of these switches illuminate white. A guarded emergency light switch is also located on this panel. Next, we find boarding music controls. The channel music switch is a stacked rotary knob. The outer portion selects one of 4 channels of music, while the inner dial rotates to initiate the system and control volume. Supplementary light controls are found throughout the cabin, galley, and lavatory areas. These include additional threshold lights, work and galley lights, and lavatory threshold lights. Threshold lights illuminate door areas on the left side of the aircraft. Controls for the threshold lights are near the doors. Work lights are found at each flight attendant station and in galley areas. switches are located at each respective station. Galley lights are controlled by switches on galley panels. Exterior lavatory threshold lights are located above each lavatory door and are illuminated when the aircraft has power. Lavatory interiors are illuminated by one incandescent ceiling light and one or more fluorescent mirror lights. The mirror light illuminates unlocking the lavatory door. However, when the aircraft is on the ground powered externally or by the APU, both mirror and ceiling lights are illuminated regardless of the door position. A multi-language pre-recorded announcement system will be added to provide a source of standard announcements. These will include pre-departure safety demonstration and additional marketing announcements. A cassette tape will be formatted in accordance with the tin keypad for individual announcement selection. Announcements will be in French and Spanish, as plans are to fly the 757 to Canada and Mexico. A list of the announcements and their respective codes will be posted on a placard near the panel. LOD announcements are to be performed manually until this system receives FAA approval. A control panel also at the forward flight attendant station controls this system, which contains a tape deck and solid-state stored voice circuitry. Depressing the appropriate combination of numeric switches selects the proper tape segment. The numeric display window indicates the numbers programmed. A ready light will illuminate when the system is operational. Another switch controls the volume. Pushing the start or stop button directs the operation of the tape. As boarding music is available on the primary L1 panel, the music program selector has been deactivated. Within this panel is also incorporated an automatic announcement system for emergency situations or decompressions. Time constraints necessitated our purchasing a previously programmed chip from Delta. Similar to the 767 layout, the first-class lavatory is located on the left with the cockpit directly forward. To compensate for the smaller fuselage, the 757 cockpit floor was lowered, placing the instrument panel at the widest point on the fuselage. On entering the cockpit, it is necessary to step down. When the L1 door is armed, opening the cockpit door extinguishes some entry lights and dims others. The cockpit door unlocks automatically with the loss of electrical power. The cabin temperature is controlled from the cockpit. On the 757, there are 3 temperature zones: the cockpit and the forward and aft portions of the aircraft. All interphone public address handsets are identical. The cabin interphone system is a party line network with handsets in the cockpit and at each flight attendant jump seat. Removing a handset from stowage automatically connects it as an open line. Other flight attendant stations and the cockpit may be contacted by depressing the appropriate switch. For example, to call the aft galley, depress aft twice, pausing between each press to allow the electrical relay to function properly. 2 chimes will sound at the L4 station. To stow the handset, place the top of the interphone into the cradle and then the bottom. An improperly stowed handset will render the system inoperative to that station. Properly stowing the handset disconnects that station from either the interphone or passenger address system. This may also be done by depressing the reset button. It is not necessary to use the push-to-talk lever for interphone calls. It is used only for the public address announcements. To make a normal interphone call to the cockpit, simply press pilot twice. When calling the cockpit in an emergency, depress pilot 6 times and speak. Do not wait for a reply. As on the 767, the alert switch initiates an all call. Depressing this will illuminate an alert call light in the cockpit. High-low chimes will sound 3 times over the public address system, and flashing pink call lights will illuminate at all flight attendant stations. To initiate this call, depress the alert button only once. An alert call does not indicate an emergency situation. For example, if the flight service manager wished to direct the crew to begin the service, though the seatbelt sign was still illuminated, they might choose to communicate by this method. To make an announcement, press PA to switch the handset from interphone to public address mode. Press the passenger access push-to-talk lever and speak. The volume adjusts automatically. Both chimes and ceiling-mounted call lights indicate incoming interphone calls. This call light chime system is similar to that on other aircraft. Illuminated call lights and sounding chimes may also signal passenger requests. The lights are color-coded. A steady pink light indicates an interphone call from another station or the cockpit. Passenger needs are identified with a blue light. An amber light reveals a call initiated from inside a lavatory. A soft plastic amber light also illuminates at the specific lavatory. These may be reset simply by pressing on the light. The interior of the aircraft is divided into 4 call zones. Master call light indicators are located in ceiling exit panels. Indicators will illuminate for the respective zone in which the passenger is seated. Chimes, however, are audible throughout the entire aircraft. As previously mentioned, there are a total of 4 lavatories on the 757. The lavatory on the left by the number 3 door is equipped with handicap assist handles. Typically, each lavatory is a self-contained unit with toilet, wash basin, mirror, necessary vanity items, and towel disposal units. Additionally, there is a flight attendant call button, a return to seat sign, a loudspeaker for passenger address, and an overhead compartment containing 2 oxygen masks. When a lavatory is occupied, a lavatory occupied sign in the ceiling will illuminate. Closing and latching a lavatory door turns on the mirror lights and also illuminates an occupied sign in the door. As with other lavatories, the doors can be locked or unlocked from the outside by inserting an object into a slot in the vacant occupied indicator and moving the lock. If someone is trapped in the lavatory, the bifold doors can be removed by retracting top and bottom hinge pins and pulling the door free. The one-piece lavatory door in first class may also be removed by turning the doorknob and exerting sufficient force.
Now let's identify the galley complexes, galley packing, cabin seating, seat controls, and video equipment. All galley equipment on board the 757 is Atlas equipment. As on the MD-80, storage mushrooms have not been installed. Let's begin with Galley A. You may follow along using your Checker Dispatcher Checklist, or CDC, as we discuss provisioning common to each galley area. Galley A is intended primarily for beverage support for first class. Positions A1, A2, and A5 are for storage. There is a false door in the back of the A5 storage compartment, shielding electrical wires. This area is not to be used for storage. Positions A3 and A4 accommodate 2 Atlas ovens. There are 2 coffee makers and hot water spigots in positions CM1 and CM2. There is also a cold water spigot and drain here. The water shutoff for Galley A is found above position A5. To the right of this are the circuit breakers. The cart stowage area allows for 3 carts. In position AA is the first class beverage cart. Positions AB and AC accommodate 2 Atlas food carts packed as indicated on the CDC. One contains first-class bar supplies and the other first-class dairy and ice. As on other aircraft, the dairy drawer contains the CDC and menu description sheet. On the 757, a sequence of service and cart setup sheet has been added. There is also a service feedback form to be completed and placed in the liquor envelope. Positions A6 through A8 provide storage for additional beverage items. In position A9 is a waste container. To provide additional counter space during the service, a work table may be extended between galleys A and B. This is a collapsible bifold table. To place in position, slide the fixed extension pins into the brackets on Galley A. Outboard pressure must then be applied when inserting the pins into the brackets on Galley B, securing the table in place. On the forward galley sidewall, between galleys A and B, is the water quantity gauge. This indicates the level of water found in the potable water system, which supplies fresh water to laboratory wash basins. A water tank holding 60 gallons, or 227 liters, is located aft of the bulk cargo compartment. The flight service manager will pre-flight this gauge. The gauge must reflect an adequate supply for that particular flight time and load. On a Santa Ana flight, for example, a full supply of water is preferable. Position B1 through B5 store various items. 2 Atlas ovens occupy position B6, and B7. In position B8 is a waste container. Positions BA, BB, and BC house 3 Atlas food carts, packed according to service specifications. Facing the aisle behind Galley B is a coat closet, designated for first-class passenger items. This is a wide compartment with an extending double bar, allowing additional garments to be hung in the rear. A magazine rack is located in the overhead compartment above the closet. Also forward and above the closet is a small square compartment intended as a security cabinet for flight attendant belongings. The final method of locking the compartment has not yet been determined. There are deep wells forward of the first-class bulkhead seats. Passengers seated in the front rows may use this as an additional stowage area for carry-on items. Across from Galley B is a storage bin. Safety equipment and the cockpit key will be found in the upper portion of this cabinet. In the lower compartment, brackets secure the bifold galley work table in place, along with additional safety items. Just aft of the first-class galley complex is A Zone, which is designated first class. Here, there are 22 standard narrow-body first-class seats. The distance between the front of the seat back and the forward seat, or the pitch, is 40 inches as compared to the 38 inches offered by our competition. Seats are arranged 2 by 2. Row 1 has only 2 seats on the left side of the aircraft, while rows 2 through 6 seat 4 across. Seats are denoted A, C, D, and F. A new feature of our first-class seats is a headrest that can be repositioned. Both sides of the headrest may be brought forward for customer comfort. First-class tray tables are located in the passenger armrests, and built into the center console are drink holders for each passenger. Tray tables may be raised with these holders extended, offering additional support for the table. Both first-class and comfort-class armrests contain a passenger control unit, or PCU, allowing passengers to determine their individual entertainment preferences. Channel selection and volume controls, as well as a channel indicator, comprise the unit. Depressing the channel selector arrows in the desired direction displays the various program numbers on the channel indicator panel. 2 volume control buttons raise and lower the volume. A passenger service unit, or PSU, is installed above each row of seats. These contain individual reading lights, air outlets, emergency oxygen equipment, no smoking, fasten seatbelt signs, and flight attendant call button. Speakers are installed in every other PSU, above flight attendant jump seats, and in the lavatories. Additional reading light bulbs are available in the cockpit and may be installed by flight attendants when needed. For passenger convenience, all overhead compartments are to be opened prior to boarding. The bins are essentially the same size as those found on the 727, though there are some shorter bins in the extreme forward and aft cabin sections. Each standard bin is 57 inches long and nearly 12 inches in height, with a shelf of 23 inches. This extended length provides space to accommodate full-length garment bags and walking canes or crutches. Maximum weight for each bin is 180 pounds. The bins open up and outward by depressing the center latch. They may also be opened by inserting a small pointed object in a tiny pinhole provided on each side of the bin. This releases the hinge, freeing the door. Located directly behind the first-class cabin on the right side of the aircraft is the aisle-facing Galley C. Depending on staffing, the galley checkout is the shared responsibility of L2, R3, and R1. Positions C1 through C3 are storage areas. In position CM3 and CM4 are 2 coffee makers. Above the coffee makers are the circuit breakers, and a drain is found below. Position CA houses the cart for first-class breakdown, which also contains comfort class dairy, mix, and ice. In position CB, there is a waste cart for first-class breakdown. Position CC holds the comfort class liquor cart. Behind this cart is the water shutoff valve for this area. Because this is an aisle-facing galley, additional security measures are necessary. A restraining bar must be positioned diagonally across the carts for taxi, takeoff, and landings. It is the responsibility of the L2 flight attendant to ensure this is in place. Forward of C galley and directly behind row 6 is another storage unit. Safety equipment is found in position C4 and the first-class folding aisle cart in position C5. Movie capability on the 757 will be provided through the new Sony Transcom system. TWA will be the first airline to enjoy Sony's latest state-of-the-art system. As more information becomes available regarding its specifics, detailed instructions will be presented to the workforce. Sony created a short video intended as merely a quick overview for flight attendant viewing. When the actual equipment is in place, this video will be accessible at your domicile, supplemented by written data. Color video monitors are part of this new state-of-the-art Hi-8 video reproducer unit. There will be a total of 26 monitors, with one located on each side of the aircraft, every 2 rows in first class and every 3 rows in comfort class. A public address announcement will immediately stop both the visual and audio entertainment systems, enabling passengers to hear the necessary information. Once the announcement is concluded and the handset replaced or reset, the systems resume play precisely at the point of interruption. Leaving first class, we enter B zone. Both B and C zones are designated comfort class, with a total seating capacity of 158 passengers in a 3-3 configuration. Seats are lettered A through F. In comfort class, the new slimline seats are designed to reduce the distance between seats while increasing passenger living space. Our passengers enjoy a pitch of 32 inches versus the 30 inches found on other airlines. B zone alone seats 104 passengers in rows 7 through 25. Nearly all aisle seats in comfort class are equipped for handicapped passengers. The front rows where tray tables are stored in armrests, as well as the last 3 rows in C zone, are the exceptions. Depressing a button located on the inner aft portion of the armrest and raising the armrest permits easy access to these seats. The 2 passenger seats at the R2 door, the window seat aft of the R2 door, and all other exit row seats have tray tables stored in the armrest. The remaining comfort class seats have drop-down tables. Aft of the number 3 doors, we enter C zone with seating for 54 comfort class passengers. Again, seats are designated A through F, rows 26 through 34. Headsets can be found in the last overhead bin on each side of the aircraft. The last overhead bin on the left side of the aircraft houses the wheelchair. The D galley is located aft of the number 4 doors. This is the primary service area for comfort class. Located at the top, D2 through D5 are storage compartments primarily for beverage-related items. D1 has been designated as a second storage area for flight attendant personal belongings. Coffee makers and waste bins are found on both sides of the galley. Position D7, D8, and D13 through D16 provide storage for additional service items. The water shutoff valve is located directly above the coffee maker on the right, with water spigots and drains directly below each coffee maker. There are 4 ovens in positions D9 through D12. Circuit breakers are directly above position D13. There are positions for 8 carts below the galley counter, with 5 meal carts required for a full load of passengers. The first 4 carts will each contain 33 trays, while the top-off cart will carry 26. From left to right as you face the galley, the other 3 carts include a supply cart, beverage cart, and waste cart. We have previewed the exterior features and interior layout of the aircraft. We have examined the galley complexes and galley packing. Finally, we identified the location and operation of the lighting controls, communication equipment, and our new Sony entertainment system. The addition of the Boeing 757 to TWA's fleet is an exciting opportunity for Trans World Airlines. Our new aircraft will enhance our stature in the industry and sharpen our competitive edge. It's a long-awaited reward for the tireless efforts of all of our employees, and a great success for TWA.